This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Tilani Piris. The Parliament Committee on Public Finance approves the supplementary estimate of 695 billion rupees. The Prime Minister says the next 3 weeks will be tough for Sri Lanka. The Cabinet postponed the discussion on the 21st Amendment to next week. The Colombo Commercial High Court's fiscal officer interdicted over Aeroflot flight case. An enjoining order issued preventing Minister Nima Siripala de Silva from being removed from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party positions. And on foreign news, Ukraine conflict is settling into World War I style trench warfare. And on sports news, the first T20 between Sri Lanka and Australia is being played at the R. Premadasa Stadium, Colombo. The supplementary estimate of 695 billion rupees to maintain essential state services presented in Parliament by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has been approved by the Parliament Committee on Public Finance, which met today, headed by MP Anura Priyadarshana Yapa. Secretary to the Finance Ministry, Mahinda Siriwardene, explained to the committee about the needs to be met through the funds. The next 3 weeks will be tough for Sri Lanka. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said today, urging the general public to use fuel and liquefied petroleum LP gas sparingly. Delivering a special statement in Parliament today, the Premier stressed the need to limit unessential travel for the time being and to refrain from hoarding the products. The Cabinet has postponed the discussion on the 21st Amendment to the Constitution to next week. The relevant proposal was presented to the Cabinet by the Minister of Justice, Prisons Reforms and Constitutional Affairs, Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, yesterday. The Minister had submitted the relevant proposal to the Cabinet with the amendments made during the discussions with the party leaders. However, it has not been approved by the Cabinet, and the Cabinet has proposed to include the amendments submitted by the political parties and organizations as submit to the next Cabinet meeting. However, it has not been approved, and the Cabinet has proposed to include the amendments submitted by the political parties and organizations as submit to the next Cabinet meeting. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor G.L. Piris, will travel to Singapore for a bilateral visit tomorrow on the invitation of his counterpart, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Singapore, Vivian Balakrishnan. During his 2-day visit, Minister Piris will hold bilateral discussions with Foreign Minister Balakrishnan and meetings with the Minister for Finance, Lawrence Wong, Minister for Law and Minister for Home Affairs. K. Shanmugam and other senior officials following the visit. Minister Piris will take part in the 19th IISS Shangri-La Dialogue Asia Security Summit from 10th to 11th June 2022. The minister will be representing the President of Sri Lanka at the Security Summit, which will focus on issues on security, cooperation and challenges in the Asia-Pacific region. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The fiscal officer of the Colombo Commercial High Court, who implemented the court order for the detention of the Russian Aeroflot flight at the Bandaranaike International Airport, BIA, has been interdicted for overriding his official duties. The Minister of Justice, Prisons Affairs and Constitutional Reform said it has taken steps to suspend the fiscal officer of the Colombo Commercial High Court, who has been accused of abusing the judicial process in enforcing the interim order issued by the Colombo Commercial High Court. Meanwhile, the Minister of Justice has also taken steps to inform the Chief Justice that action should be taken against the lawyer who has been charged in connection with this incident. The Colombo District Court today issued an enjoining order preventing Minister Nima Siripala de Silva from being removed from all positions he holds in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. It was issued after taking into consideration a petition filed by Minister de Silva. This enjoining order will be effective until the 20th of June. That ends local news to now.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi 60 from Sri Lanka Insurance. A health insurance plan to honor our most valued elders by the protectors of the nation. We now give our treasured senior citizens access to the very best medical insurance, specially tailored for anyone over 60. What's more, you don't need medical screening to access this policy. And Medi 60 covers a wide range of illnesses. Only from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 0112 357 357.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatmya.
The Cabinet has approved to import 150,000 metric tons of urea, 45,000 metric tons of muriate of potash and 36,000 metric tons of triple super phosphate fertilizer for paddy cultivation in 2022-23 Maha season. Ceylon Fertilizer Company Limited and the Colombo Commercial Fertilizer Company Limited are to import the relevant quantities of fertilizer and distribute them to the farmers. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatmya.
And on Watch Light tonight, Litro Gas Company says there will be no distribution of domestic LP gas cylinders tomorrow. However, Litro Gas Lanka Limited says that they will be receiving a shipment of LP gas soon and the distribution of domestic gas cylinders will resume in a few days. That came to you in Watch Light. Moving on with world news and the headlines first. The Ukraine conflict is settling into World War I-style trench warfare. Zelensky calls for safe maritime corridor to export grains. Apple announces buy now, pay later plan. Ukraine conflict is settling into World War I-style trench warfare. Heavy fighting continues in the eastern Ukrainian city of Severodonetsk, which Russian forces have been trying for weeks to capture. It comes as the Battle of Donbass grinds on, with neither side making major gains. A military analyst says the fighting in Ukraine has settled into a rhythm reminiscent of trench warfare in World War I. Ukraine's president has warned that Russia's blockade of ports in southern Ukraine could prevent the country from exporting 75 million tons of grain by autumn. Vladimir Zelensky told reporters that roughly 22 to 25 million tons of grain has already been blocked from export. He suggested that the amount may increase to 75 million tons by autumn. Zelensky said Ukraine needs a safe corridor for ships and that his government has talked with Britain and Turkey on methods to ensure exports. Apple is planning to buy now, pay later BNPL service as part of its new operating system iOS 16. Apple Pay Later will allow users in the US to spread the cost of a purchase into 4 payments over 6 weeks without paying interest or fees. It forms part of a range of new iPhone features, including the ability to edit iMessages and a feature intended to help people in abusive relationships. Back to the world news headlines. The Ukraine conflict is settling into World War I-style trench warfare. Zelensky calls for safe maritime corridor to export grains. Apple announces buy now, pay later plan. That ends world news. Moving on with development news, Sri Lanka has decided to give special 40-year tax relief for Chinese-built port city to attract potential investors after the island nation's largest foreign direct investment failed to attract investments after opened for nearly 1 year. Cabinet spokesperson Bandula Gunawardena said the government has taken this decision because other countries have offered more competitive tax relief than us in order to attract investors. With this economic recession, attracting investors is a challenge, while local investors in the country are moving to countries such as Bangladesh, Ethiopia and Kenya due to favorable investment opportunities. That came to you in development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Sports news, cricket. The first T20 match between Sri Lanka and Australia is now played at the R. Premadasa Stadium today. Australia won the toss and chose to field. Accordingly, Sri Lanka were 118 runs for the loss of 7 wickets at the 16th over a short while ago. Australia team is touring Sri Lanka after 6 years. The SLBC will broadcast live all matches of the series. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
My Business International, a comprehensive web portal that provides a much-needed platform for businesses in Sri Lanka to connect with foreign markets, was unveiled recently. The My Business International platform has been carefully designed to provide a user-friendly interface that allows for easy navigation for a foreign buyer to select a business partner from Sri Lanka. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, Sri Lanka is considering to grant tax relief and other benefits like housing loans for expatriate workers who sends their earnings through the official bank network, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment said. Money is moving to unofficial channels such as Undial at higher premiums because the central bank is printing money, creating forex shortages in the official banking system, and exchange controls have been placed forcing them to go a free market at higher rates. Sri Lanka's official remittances fell 52% in April to $249 million compared to a year ago, while they have fallen by 57% to $1 billion in the first 4 months of 2022 compared to the same period last year. That came to you in economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And to conclude the weather report, the Met Department says several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragama and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Matara districts. That was the weather report. And now to in this news broadcast, the main points once again. The Parliament Committee on Public Finance approves the supplementary estimate of 695 billion rupees. The Prime Minister says the next 3 weeks will be tough for Sri Lanka. The Cabinet postponed the discussion on the 21st Amendment to next week. The Colombo Commercial High Court's fiscal officer interdicted over Aeroflot flight case. An enjoining order issued preventing Minister Nima Siripala de Silva from being removed from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party positions. And on foreign news, Ukraine conflict is settling into World War I style trench warfare. And on sports news, the first T20 between Sri Lanka and Australia is being played at the R. Premadasa Stadium, Colombo. That ends this news broadcast.